Hi there, it's Emma, and welcome to another episode of Sax Bites, the 5-minute saxophone lesson podcast. Today, I'm going to be doing another episode of my Sax Basics series and talking about something that is very, very important: the tongue. Quite a lot of students only think about the tongue in its role in articulation and starting and ending each note, and they forget about the impact that the tongue and tongue position can have on their sound as a whole. For some teachers, they only really talk about tongue position when students start moving into altissimo and contemporary techniques and extension of range. Then, when discussing voicings and overtones, suddenly tongue position and the shape of the inside of your mouth is a huge topic of discussion. But actually, we need to think about tongue position right from the very first day we pick up our saxophone, and beginners actually can benefit a lot from their teacher being really active in their descriptions and their demonstrations of tongue position. So I really like students to experiment with where their tongue is sitting in their mouth when they're speaking, when they're drinking water, and when they're just sitting still with their mouth both in an open and closed position. One of the starting points to understanding tongue position while playing is just understanding what the inside of your mouth is doing at any given point. It sounds like a really strange thing, but I find that if you're not used to making that mind to muscle connection, if you're not used to analyzing what's actually going on, a teacher can describe tongue position to you and they can describe what they're doing as a teacher, as an experienced player, but it's going to make no sense. The next step is to get the student to play and to move their tongue into different positions while playing. So try putting your tongue in a neutral position, resting just on the bottom of your mouth. Try moving the tongue upwards as high in the mouth as they can, left, right, moving around in circles, and all of those different positions in the mouth that they can come up with without actually touching the reed. Because remember, we're not talking about the role of the tongue in terms of articulation, we're just understanding tongue position. It's always at this point that I wish that there was a camera or x-ray machine that I could show through my cheek into my mouth what's actually going on. Because again, students might not fully understand what I'm doing because they're just watching my flat cheeks not move at all while I'm demonstrating tongue position. And students will watch in the mirror as they're experimenting with tongue position and not see anything happening. So again, we're building mind to muscle connection from our mind to the tongue, and we're not actually able to see what's going on. From this point, you want to build your baseline tongue position. That is the position that your tongue is in the majority of the time that you are playing. It's the core of your range that you're going to be in, and it's your baseline sound. So when we're playing, our tongue should be like when we're saying a U vowel shape. There's a lower, flatter position at the back to mid of the tongue, and the front of the tongue, the very tip, is posed just below the reed, ready to articulate and ready to do our tonguing. And this relaxed shape facilitates a great lower register. You'll know you've got it right if the lower register of your saxophone is coming out very, very easily, and you're just needing to pop that octave key on to take the notes up higher. If you're finding the opposite, your high notes are easy to produce and you're having to really strain and work harder to make your low notes come out, you may need to sort of go back a step and work on refining your U shape and your relaxed tongue position. Because as the saxophone is designed, we have an octave key, we have a vent mechanism. The high notes are actually very easy to produce. So we should be working on making our bass line and our shape facilitating a lower register. And I find the bigger the saxophone, the more important this becomes. If I want a really in tune, beautiful lower register on a tenor or a barry, I need to go back to basics and make sure my tongue is in that optimal open vowel sound position. Understanding tongue position can be a little bit tricky, but it's such an important first step in what's called voicing. And that is such an important first step in expanding your range, improving your intonation, and having a really killer altissimo register. So for a next step, I would highly recommend jumping on YouTube and searching Robert Young sax voicings and watching Robert's videos on this topic. He is a fabulous saxophonist with some really brilliant resources to continue your learning here. That's all for today's episode. I hope I've left you with some great ideas from your practice. And until next time, this has been Sax Vibes.